Hey guys, welcome to my channel, welcome to my stream, welcome to another episode, another chapter working on this guy right there. That is our B1-B Lancer by Academy, 144 scale airplane. So let's, if we could get that intro going, and we'll get started with this episode. Okay guys, we're back. We are back, and we are continuing on in this build. You guys saw me paint the whole thing last time, and since then, and starting now, I've put on all the decals on the plane. And so, I have this guy here. He's got some decals on him, kind of laid around in some spots on him. There's not a lot really, and of course with the dark gray paint scheme, the decals don't come out all that super vibrant. You can see it on the tail fin here, and you know, the little marks around the rear wings, a couple of things there, and a few little spots on the nose, and of course the markings for the guide for refueling. I'm a little bit hesitant to touch the bottom because I did just lay a coat of clear coat on the bottom to seal in the decals on the bottom here. So that is still a little bit tacky. I'm waiting for that to dry. Okay. Do have the decals on the wings. It's basically just this black line outline, but it is one long decal. Let me change the camera so you can get a better look at this. Okay. So there we go. There's our top of the wing. As you can see, the outline that goes all the way around there. If I get that in the right light, you'll be able to see the whole thing. Kind of like that. Yeah. One thing I did find with this decal, this decal is a big, long, rectangular decal. Okay, that they've put on there, and you can kind of see, if I catch it in the right light, you can see it looks like it's a slightly different color gray than the rest of the wing. That's because of the clear film in there. To the naked eye, it pretty much looks the same, and it's hard to tell. I did actually get quite a bit of silvering underneath of it after putting it down. Of course, a nice coat of Tamiya flat clear over it. The flat clear completely got rid of all the silvering, and just as if it's not even there. And then of course I did another coat of the Tamiya gloss clear over that. I got two decals here that I literally just put on before I started filming, so I've got to let those cure. These are on our landing, on our bomb bay doors, or bomb bays, bomb bays, bomb doors, whatever. A couple of decals on the sides of our engines, but that's about it. So I want to start today. I need to do a little bit of painting on this little strip there. I just need to put some black on that. Let's move my wings out of the way for now. I need to get that done, get these little things painted real quick. Just a quick little paint job on these. So I'll just quickly do these while I'm preparing to do other stuff. I just need to paint the tub of this, just like that, and then that's done. Same on this door. This is just one of the landing gear doors pieces. There we go. Okay, so those are done. I just needed to touch those up and get that on there. I think today, once my clear has finished drying over there, we're going to do the panel lining on this guy. Okay, we're going to do some panel lining. For the panel lining, I'm going to try this stuff. This is from Ammo. Blue black is what this is for, or it's the color of it anyway. A blue black. It's a wash. As you can tell, I had to shake it a little bit to actually get that ball moving because of the pigment in it. So get that pigment shaken up real good on with my little shaker here, and we'll get ready. All right, I think that's pretty good. So this stuff, basically, the idea here is to just kind of slather it on everywhere, let it dry for just a minute or two, and then we're going to wipe it all off. And when we wipe it off, it's going to stay in the lines. So I'm going to move these little guys out of the way. We'll start with the wings. Okay, we'll start with our wings, and we'll do that. There's our color, basically. Blue-black. It's not quite black, it's not blue, but it's somewhere in between. And we're going to be nice and generous with it. Make sure we get in all the panel lines. I can honestly say the reference photos I've used or looked at for these planes, they're not really... they're not super weathered, they're not really dirty. I don't see a lot of streaking or anything like that. They're obviously kept pretty clean. So I think just doing the panel lines and not really going crazy with any grease or dirt or anything like that, or smudges, fuel stains. I don't think that's going to be anything that's needed at all. Okay, so we got one wing done. We'll do the other wing here. Just going every line, being very generous. Also don't care about being neat. Because we're going to clean it all up. That's one thing I do like about the AK washes. AK panel liner. That stuff I really am a big fan of, because you can just literally wipe that stuff off with a dry cloth. And it gets off of it basically, you know, you say get out of here, it leaves. It listens to you. Okay, I'll do the engines here since they're sitting here anyway. There's lots of lines around the engines, lots of panel lines. One thing I am going to avoid is my seam that's going along here. I'm going to avoid that. Okay. But lots of lines here on the bottom, so we can take advantage of all that detail. Go around all of our whole engine like that. Okay, there's that one. Now, because of the color of this stuff and the color of the plane, the panel lines are going to be very subtle, and that's kind of what I want. I'm not going for super crazy. Of course, I could use black panel liner, and then, you know what? If that's all you have, go at it. Go ahead. I don't think you're going to be doing a serious injustice by doing black panel liner, but I would recommend, if you have something a little more subtle than black, to use it, because in this scale, realistically, when you go down to a 144 scale, realistically, let's talk realism here for a moment. Realistically, you wouldn't really be seeing a lot of the panel lines on this plane if you were to actually scale it down from its real size down to a 144 scale. Okay, you think about that for a moment. I'm going to change the camera. Think about it for a moment. You're talking about a real life size plane. The panel line between two panels is not even as wide as your finger, okay? It's not even as thick as this paintbrush. It's thin. We're talking a couple of millimeters, you know, a 1/16 of an inch, right? Kind of thing. Now you scale that down 144 times. That is a tiny, tiny little crack that you could barely even see. But yet, we've got pretty big lines going on this thing. So you think about that for a minute. Yes, it looks good because you can see the panels. Visually, it looks appealing. But if you're talking about realism, you wouldn't see these panel lines at all. Anyway, I just wanted to change the cameras and to rant about that a little bit. Okay, so it's been a minute or two. This is already tacky. If you can see, I can wipe it off a little bit with my finger. And that's why I'm just going to grab a cloth, kind of pick a sort of clean spot, and I'm going to wipe it. Okay. Wipe it away. And this way, I've got a little bit of highlighted panel lines, but it hasn't gone crazy. If I flip this over, you can see the difference. That's just kind of gray washed out, nothing. Now you can see the panel lines on this one. And that's the whole point. It just picks them out a little bit, but doesn't go crazy. And that's what I like about that. Okay, this wing, half of it's done. We'll go clean this one up. That's good. Just like that. Alright, so now we're going to flip them over and we'll do the other side. Okay. My engines are still wet, so just give this another shake. Go crazy painting these up. Well, like I said, if you want to go heavy on it, go heavy on it. If you don't, then don't. See, I just went heavy on all these just because there's a lot of little details on the front edge, on the leading edge of the wing. So I just want to do quick and dirty. Yeah, I want to do it quick. So yeah, get it all in there. So there you go. And I just realized I was doing that all like 90% off camera, so I'm sorry about that. Put this one a little more centered in the frame. Just going like crazy, wiping all that paint on there. Way more paint than I need. Just because I want to show you, you don't need to be neat, because we're going to be wiping almost all of it away. I'm just focusing on making sure I got paint in the lines and not to spread all over the flat surface. And there we go. Okay. Realize I got a little more pigment. Make sure I got that there. Okay. So, I'm not even going to clean my brush. Let's wipe off our engines a little bit here. Start on the sides. Just like that. I will say the point on the front of this it hurts. The pointy part of the engine hurts. Here we go. Okay. Again, it's really subtle, and that's the whole point. If you want less subtle, you can use a darker color. Ammo does make black. They just, you know, typical fashion. You go to the hobby store, and that's the one color they're sold out of. Right? So, yeah. Happens to me a lot when I go to my local hobby store. The color I want, they have none of. Hobby store just near my house, they just started keeping this line of paints, the AK 3rd generation. They just started stocking this stuff. I wanted to get some German gray, and guess what? It's the one color they're totally sold out of. This is still very wet. I want to wait till this dries before I start wiping it off. So I'm going to just put my wings up here so they're out of the way. If you don't wait for it to dry and you wipe it off wet, you're basically just going to pull, your cloth is just going to pull the paint completely out of the lines. And you don't want that. That's the one thing you don't want. So that's why you do have to let it dry at least for a few minutes. Let it get at least tacky to the touch. Okay, now there are lines all over this plane, and so I want to get these done. This is one of those steps that's really kind of fun because you don't have to be neat with it. As I do get to around the cockpit, I do want to be a little bit careful because I got masking tape over it. And this paint is thin, and it's possible that it could bleed underneath the masking tape. I don't know if it really would, but it's not a chance I want to take, you know? There's a panel line all the way along there. Get to the back here, I need to be careful where I'm holding it. All kinds of lines all over the place. That's what makes it fun. And of course the cleanup is so fast because you literally just wipe it. Okay, let's work my way over to the nose. I'll do these lines. I'm going to change my glasses here. I need to get up close to it. And I realize I did not set my timer. I got about half an hour. So we got all the way around here, these guys, these little things. This line goes down. Some squares here. I do have some detail under here, but it's very soft. The lines are not very deep. Panels here. All right. I'll do my tail also. There's detail even underneath here. A lot of detail under the tail here. Do our wing. Well, like I said, if you don't wait for it to dry, as you can tell, the contrast is not huge. It's quite a light contrast on this. But again, if you don't wait for it to dry before you try wiping it, whatever contrast you have just might go away because you pull the paint right out of the lines. Okay, so that's that. And I noticed on my engines, I basically didn't do anything. Can't tell that there's any difference in the lines, so I'm going to go over them again. This one I can see a little better, but yeah. Okay, so I'm going to clean up my brush. I don't want to leave it like this. I'm going to clean it up at least a little bit. Okay. We're going to set this over here, let this dry for a minute. We'll go back to our wings. Okay. Because this is now pretty dry. This one's definitely dry. So, again, grabbing a sort of a clean spot on the rag and we wipe. Okay, now, this is just like, you guys have seen me do this stuff before, and where I wind up really not being able to remove it very well because I didn't put a clear coat down, or I have a clear coat, but I didn't put a gloss clear. I did flat clear. Okay? Or if you don't put any clear down at all, basically what happens is this stuff gets absorbed into the flat paint and is a real pain to get rid of. Okay, so there we go. We've got the bottom done. Again, it's really subtle. It's hard. It's a little bit hard to tell, but that's what I want. Okay, I'm going for that. I'm going for subtle in the actual lines, and we are going to seal it all in later and get a nice consistent coat of paint on there. Okay, there we go. Now we'll go back to our fuselage. Purposely, I don't want to go too hard on it. I want to be rather soft and light with my touch. Spine there, yep, good. And like I said, it's subtle. It's very subtle, and that is what I'm going for. I'm going for subtle. Don't go too hard. Be careful of your little fins that you got there poking out. Okay. Don't go too hard. Be careful of that one. Around the nose here. If you get a spot where you can't really clean it up, you can always. Sorry, I got to do this off camera. I'm resting the plane on my desk. All right. Okay, to the side of our tail. This side. Do our wings. Flip her over. Okay. Let's get in underneath our wing, in here. All right, so there's the top. Okay, now it looks a little funny because we've got, you can see when it catches in the light where it's made some dull spots. That's going to be all uniform when I do another clear coat over the top of this and seal it all in. Okay, so let's do the bottom now. Give this another shake, get that pigment all worked up in there. The bottom is definitely the spot where if you really wanted to go crazy, you could. I mean, the bottom is where grease accumulates. It's where, you know, everything just, it's where dirt's, the bottom is dirt's playground. Everybody knows that. So many military aircraft out there where the bottom is just awful looking. Streaks of grime everywhere, just everywhere you look. But at the same time, on this particular plane, there's not a lot of panels on the bottom. And it's not like they mount ordnance on it. You know, the bombs are all interior. I do have lots of panels along here on the front though. All right. I'm going to say that's it. And yeah, we'll let this dry for a minute. I'll clean up my brush once again. Put this aside. Now, if you're not like me and you want to actually do this precisely, what you can do is take some white spirit or mineral spirit. I like to use this stuff. This is AK's white spirit for enamel products. So I'm actually almost out of my pure stuff. They also have this stuff here, the odorless thinner. It's basically the exact same stuff. But this is the one I use to clean up stuff like that. So this one's dirty thinner. You dip a Q-tip in there and you can just rub it off on the edges of each panel line, and you can do it that way. It's a much longer process, but that is the other way you can do it. It is up to you. I like to do it the quick way and just wipe my panels clean like this. Even if it's not as precise, it gets the job done. Okay, as you can tell, it does leave some of those lines, and they don't look very pristine. But, like I already said a few times now, it's all gonna be uniform once I lay clear coat down over it. Getting in there is tricky. And there we go. We have a dry plane with some panel lines that have been accented. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys just the Q-tip thing. Okay, so take some thinner, dip a Q-tip in it. Let's keep this over to the side. We're going to put the Q-tip on there and we're going to let it dry a little bit. Let's put it on the paper towel so the Q-tip dries a bit. We're going to make it so it's not so wet. We're going to dry it a little bit on the paper towel here. Okay, so it's pretty dry. And now you can go on the edges and you can clean up these edges. It reactivates it, and you just do this on the edges and clean it up. Right? And it'll clean up your smudges. If you you don't want to see all this extra smudging and stuff, you just clean it up like that. You can do that. You can see it cleans it up just a little bit. And you can do that on every edge you want, any one that you want to clean, and refine your lines like that. Right? And it cleans it all up. It's really up to you. Of course, my opinion is you don't have to, but if you want, you can. You can go along and clean up all your lines and clean it all up. Okay? But my purpose, of course, is just to leave it. So, I'm going to spray this with a coat of, actually I want to clean that up a little bit. There we go. Okay. I'm going to spray this with a coat of, I'm going to go with semi-gloss. Every photo that I've seen of these planes, if I can find my semi-gloss here we go. Every photo I've seen of these planes, they kind of shimmer and sheen. They have a sheen to them. Even this here, this picture right here, it looks shiny, like it's gloss. And so I'm going to do that. I'm going to paint this guy semi-gloss clear. I'll do a coat on the front, on the top of this right now. Okay, let's turn it around. I feel like my paint is almost finished, actually, almost empty. So I'm just going to quickly put a coat on the wings. So at least I've got continuity on the top. This is now empty. That's the last of my semi-gloss. That's the last of my semi-gloss. But at least I got the top done. I could put regular gloss clear on the bottom. But for now, I think what we want to do is go through our instructions. With that done, we have finished off manual B, except for the nose cone, which I'm leaving. I could, now that I've painted it, I could put the nose cone on. I could put the nose cone on, but I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait for that, okay? But that is it. We put on all the decals and everything, so manual B is done, which means we got to go back to manual A. Manual A, we got the bombs installed. We'll change the camera back here. We got the bombs installed. Okay, those are in. And then, yeah, that's on this page, putting the bombs in. But we didn't put in our doors yet. And this guy first. We got to put this in first. It says attach first. Which one is it? See, they do not. They are referencing here these little pieces that stick out. That's these little guys, these little nubs. They want you to get that down in there and go clack and clack. You want to clack them in there. But it looks like we got to put this in first, or we put one in first. That's Bonbuta Tulipapnida. So I'm guessing that just says attach one first. There we go. So we're going to do these first and then put this guy in after. But he is actually part of our doors, so I got to paint that part. Where is he? Where is that part? I think I already took that guy off of the sprue. Here he is. This is actually part of this, so this needs to be the same color as the fuselage. So I'm just going to brush paint that on there. That is, of course, our XF24 dark gray. So just so that this is the same color. To have that painted. Okay, so that's painted. I really should put another coat on that just to make sure. Make sure it matches, because it should match. You know, when you're looking at it, it should match the paint. But it's definitely a flatter color, right? It's a flat gray because it has no clear coat on it at all. This has been sprayed with a gloss clear. So yeah, there's that. We're just gonna make sure. Coverage is good. Okay, there we go. So we can put in our bay doors. Get that done. This should be dry to the touch by now. Yep. Okay, so it's dry to the touch, and now you can see the clear has uniformed everything on this and made it look as one color, one piece. And there we go. Okay. So again, the panel lines are super subtle, right? And that's what I wanted. I didn't want them super dark, and I've done that on purpose, right? Okay. So if you're going to leave me a comment saying you can't see the panel lines, well, that's done on purpose. Okay. So our bay doors, they go in. There's a little bit difference. I'll show you with my knife here. The distance between this one and the front compared to this one in the back, it's a little bit different, right? This one's just a little bit closer to the front. And that goes to the front. It'll be easy to tell when you go like this and you look at it, and you'll see those doors will line up as it wants to slide in there. Okay, because that's literally what you're going to do. You're going to take these tabs, you're going to put them in those holes, and go all the way down, and all the way down. And they say clack, so we're going to see. I'm not hearing a clack, but it is all the way down. Maybe those are supposed to go right into those slots. I don't think so. It just kind of sits with a gap like that. And I don't want to press too hard because this is freshly painted, and if I press on, I'm going to be able to put my fingerprint in it, and I don't want to do that. So that slides down in there like that. Also, we'll see if this fits. This guy goes, you want to have this side with that little kind of a little hook looking design, that's going to face forward. And it's going to go right down into that little slot right in between the bombs and this thing. That is a tight fit in between these two, that's for sure. Doesn't really want to go down any further. Serious fitment issue here. It could be because our bay doors are actually supposed to... there's that clack it was talking about. You just got to push down harder on it. Like that. Clack them in there. Okay. Now let's try this. Oh, almost falls in now. And that's that. That's a tight fit. Just like that. Okay. It's a little unnerving putting that in there, but it's in there. And it's such a tight fit, I don't even need glue. I'm not even going to glue it. So I can put the rear ones in too. Let's see if they are similar. It looks like this side will fit in. Yep, just like that. This one in there, all the way down, and then just like that. Done. All right, so that's those. So that's this part. So let's flip our page over. Landing gear. We're going to do landing gear. What about our engines? Engines are after the landing gear. So let's start working on the landing gear. We'll work on the front first. Okay. So we're going to need a couple of wheels. So let's put this aside for now. A couple of wheels. E3. That's this little one. Okay, there's one. And two. Okay. And we need some actual landing gear. F4. Okay. And we need the door. And that is going to be this guy here. So let's make sure he's cleaned up. I took them all off of the sprue the other day, but I didn't clean them. I just snipped them off the sprue and then that was it. So I still have to clean all these pieces up. Okay, so we'll put our wheels on first. We're going to take this guy in this direction. It doesn't really matter, I don't think, for the wheels. But our wheels do need to be clean. In spite of the fact it means And that's the problem with painting wheels on the sprue, is, yeah, you get them painted, but you wind up having to touch them up later. That's a tight fit. I hate when it's a tight fit on the wheels, where you need to use glue. I don't like using glue as a lube, but it works. So there we go. Okay. When you got parts that fit so tightly that friction alone doesn't work, sometimes just putting the glue on there allows you to slip it in there. There we go. Okay, and then on which side here? It's going to be this side here is where this one's going. This little pin right there goes into the hole on this, and then the peg on this side goes into the hole on the gear. Just like that. Okay, so I'll use my extra thin. Get back in your hole. Go. There. And that's that. There's our front. And we have our two doors. We also have F5. F5, I didn't like the fact that F5 broke on me. F5 broke on me while I was painting it, of all things. It was so delicate that it broke while painting. And it just broke again. So, yeah, I'm not happy about that. But there is not much I can do about that. So, let's see. This goes in this spot here, like that. Just like so. F5 is supposed to go into that forward hole and then connect, but it just broke. So let's just see if we can put these two back together. It's supposed to go in this direction, so this is supposed to go on here like this. Okay, that's how it's supposed to go. So let's just let him think about what he's been doing. I'll put some glue on this guy. Just like that. And now grab this guy, put some glue on the bottom, bring him forward to meet that part like this. Extra fin on there. And there we go. So we'll let that dry, just like that. The next step is our two doors. Okay, so I'll grab those and I'll clean them up. Okay, let's set this down. C12 and C13, again, I already have them taken off. There's one, and there's the other. I just need to clean them up. I'll use my nice little razor file. Get nice flat edges on them. Does that just beautifully. Okay, that one's done. And that one's done. All right. So they go with these little things facing towards the back, and it kind of looks like they're going to hook in there, but they don't. So they just sit. They go in those slots. Oops. There's two little slots, those empty slots in there. You see that? Down at the very bottom there's holes, and that's where they go in. But I've got quite a bit of paint on them, so they're not wanting to sit in their holes. So I'm going to scrape this off. Same with this edge. Put a little bit of a chamfer on the edge. I'll help that out a little bit. Okay. So this one first. I think it's supposed to go down flush. Yes, like that. Okay. So some glue in there. I will say Academy is nice in what they've done with the way these fit in is you don't have to worry about aligning things up or anything like that. I did kind of crack. It looks like I've broken the. Oh no! I want to say I broke that one loose, but it's not really. I'm just being paranoid, I think. This one's going to be a little trickier because I am left-handed. There we go. Slid in there pretty nice. Wrong one. There we go. Okay. So front landing gear is in with his doors. He is happy, and I'm happy. Okay, so that's this page finished. So we move on to the next step. Next step is these bay doors, or landing gear doors, which are these two, this guy and this guy. Again, I gotta clean these up. I don't think it's gonna really affect the fitment, but you never know. held on the sprue. Okay. Now it looks like they're going to go into the slots here and here. So we take this one for this side, and they're going to slot in right there. It looks like the way they've done it is they've just got a bit of a notch right there for this to slide into, and that just sits there like that. So I'll put a little drop of glue in the back of that. And just make sure that's pressed against the edge there. Like that. And that's it. Same thing with this guy. Just a little dab of glue there. And make sure it's pressed against the wall tight. And that one's in. Just like that. Okay. Next, we're going to do some assembly. So we're going to take F2 and F6. Are these both F6? Can't be. There's only one F6. This is one piece. What am I? I'm going a little crazy here. F2 and F6. Now, something I really don't like what they're wanting me to do. They're wanting me to assemble these parts, put them on the plane, and then put all the wheels on. And I don't like that idea at all. With how tight the other wheels fit, I'm not confident that these wheels are going to be easy to put on. Maybe. Before I put the wheels on, I'm going to scrape away some paint. Remember, these are molded in white, but I painted them, right? So I'm just going to do a little scraping on these. Just like that. And let's just get rid of a bit of paint. Just so that when I do go to put the wheels on, I'm not going to run into any issues. And then my wheels will go on nicely. I won't have to worry about it. There we go. Okay. Alright, so this guy, we've got two holes. One here and one here. Our main guy goes in this direction with this forward and the wheels parts this going back. This guy's going to go in like this. Hopefully fit in there. It's tight. It might be tight because I've got paint on it. So let's eliminate the paint problem. Okay. It's a very tight fit, but I think I can convince it to go in there. There we go. He's in. He looks kind of funny. He's at a funny angle. I don't look right. It don't look right at all. Let's see what it does when I try to put this guy in there. I might have it backwards. It's not backwards. But it might be the wrong side. I grabbed F2, and this is F2. But I am putting it on the wrong side. I have the plane backwards. It's supposed to go like this. It still does the same thing. What the heck? It's supposed to be. It cannot be like this. That cannot be by design. Let me grab the other one. Let me grab the other one. F1. And see if he'll even go in there, or if he pushes on it or something. Maybe this is how it's going to line up. I mean, it is plastic after all, so and this guy just broke. Why does Academy make this plastic so fragile? And sure enough, this is really got to bend to get it to fit. That's supposed to slot in right there like that. Okay. So if I put this in, I'm going to put this glue on here, and you're going to be glued in now. Okay. And I'm going to put some glue on this spot here. And we're going to try and wedge this in here. This technically should be pushed way out. This, with this going down, like this. In that spot like that, and lining up with this guy. I'm really asking a lot of that piece to hold this landing gear straight. I think this is where I'm going to leave it for today, guys. This is basically where I need to leave it for today. Holding on to this landing gear to let this glue cure. Yeah. The landing gear is so fragile, and it wants to really push in towards the middle there and be totally crooked. The other thing I could do, if when I let go of this it just breaks, I can actually I'll bend the other one back a little bit so it's kind of sitting the way it's supposed to. And I'm probably going to wind up having to do that anyway. But this is where I'm going to leave it for today, guys. At least I got some done. We got the panel lining done, and we've got the rest of the landing gear in. And we got our bay doors on. Yeah. So we're almost finished, probably next time we're going to be done. So yeah, really, So this is where I'm going to leave it, guys. I want to thank you for watching, and thank you for all the support and all the new subscribers. You know, you guys, I've been talking about it. We get to 1,000 subscribers, you're going to see a video series with me and my fiance building a car together. So yeah, hit that like button, hit subscribe. I know that 73% of you guys who watch have not subscribed, so just do it. Just do it. Yeah. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Thanks for coming out. And we'll see you all in the next one.